It's almost time, get your DAG hats on.
Staring at the street, paint you down, my legs and scars on their feet. Living this way just does not seem right. Small children with their hands out for some food. We turn our heads and think their behavior's rude. We don't understand when man is white. Told me, she said, well son, that's the way it goes. Little children eating out of garbage cans. Mommy and daddy, they're all living in the van. I can't turn my head, so I feel no pain. You see pictures, say it isn't right, but you won't commit to winning such a fight. This democracy drives me insane. Mama told me, she said, well son, that's the way it goes. And I don't know which side of that street you live on, and I don't care which side of that town that say it come from. All I know is it's not right every time I say I have to fight. Look in the mirror and say it's okay. Everywhere I go, there's so much more to the show. That's the way it goes. Well, son, that's the way it goes. And I don't know which side of that street you live on. And I don't care which side of that town that say it come from. All I know is it's not right every time I say I have to fight.
You're listening to DAG. It's the DAG Show, featuring DAG and some other people.
Good morning, everybody. How are you today? Welcome to the DAG Show. I'm DAG, and it's Monday morning, December 7th. This is Pearl Harbor Day, and also the anniversary, my wedding anniversary from my second wife. Yes, we got married on Pearl Harbor Day at my grandmother's bedside. She was in the hospital dying, and she absolutely adored Linda. And my grandma always wanted me to marry somebody who was Italian. Well, Linda was Danish. But she adored Linda and wanted me to marry her before she died. So this on a Thursday, I was talking to my grandma, and she says, "Well, you marry her, by phone go. You marry her before I die." I go, "Grandma, I don't know how I'm going to do that. You know, your prognosis isn't very good." And she says, "Come get married at the hospital." So I told Linda, and she said, "Okay." And Linda and I were already talking about getting married, and we called an attorney friend of ours, and actually an attorney uncle of mine, and he set up a judge. And on that Saturday, which was December 7th, we got married at my grandmother's bedside in the hospital in Chicago, and it made her day. She lived a few more weeks after that, but she was a rock star. She was in the hospital newsletter. It was really, really cool. So it was a wonderful thing that Linda agreed to do, and that was Linda's first marriage. Only marriage was to me, and she didn't have a big wedding, and she had it at a hospital. So anyway, that's Pearl Harbor Day. That's my Pearl Harbor Day story. How's everybody doing today? It's nice to start doing these shows here. This is broadcasting live from YouTube, and we've got a few topics to talk about today. And I'm going to talk about Kim Foxx. I'm going to talk about COVID. And I'm going to talk about Facebook and some of the new things that Facebook is doing. It's really kind of disturbing. Everything is really disturbing right now. That song was from my Read Me album. That's the Way It Goes, song I wrote about the homeless. So, those tracks and more will be up on the dagshow.com. Don't forget to go to the dagshow.com, and do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please, you got to subscribe to this YouTube channel. I appreciate all of you for following me on Facebook for all these years. But Facebook, and we're going to talk about Facebook and what they're doing to everybody now. In fact, why don't I just go into the whole Facebook thing right now? Let me get this meathead here. Hang on. Let me do this, and this. Ah, shit. Mark Zuckerberg has and his crack staff have completely and utterly lost their mind. Now, I don't know if any of you remember, but back in somewhere around, I want to say it was April or May, a woman had put up a post that appeared in my thread, and it was a screenshot of thirsty men being completely rude once she, refused their advances. So she screenshot it and called them out on Facebook. And I read this whole thing, and all I typed were "men are pigs." Well, I believe it was Washington Post or the New York Times last week. There was an article that was written about this, and they've made some changes. So now Facebook, and listen, when it comes to restrictions, for 5 years, I know all about them. I am constantly restricted, although I haven't been thrown in Facebook jail in over 9 months, 8 months or something like that. I was thrown, the last time I was thrown in Facebook jail was for saying men are pigs. That's all I said. You couldn't say that back then. Now you can. Facebook new rules are you cannot discriminate against anybody. And this is in their terms of service now. Except white people and men. You cannot discriminate against white people. There's no such thing as discrimination against white people and men. Everybody else, no matter what you say, Facebook will make the determination and decide for themselves whether or not what you said was discriminatory towards another individual. So in other words, if you go out and somebody puts up a post like I did, and you say white men are pigs, that's totally fine. But if you were to say black men are pigs, you are now in violation of their terms of service. So wrap your head around that for a minute here. And let me tell you something else that's happening to another friend of mine. He's a singer-songwriter, and he was playing his own song, his own composition, a song he wrote on an acoustic guitar on his Facebook page, and Facebook page blocked him for using his own music. Now, I've had this problem in the past with Facebook making these stupid decisions, and they've done that to me. In fact, one time I was playing music from this album, and a company out of England claimed the rights to my album. This is something that happens globally with rights and patents, copyrights, and all kinds of things. I mean, China is known for stealing people's intellectual property and producing it regardless, because if you invented something, what would be the point of how much money do you have to go fight China? Some manufacturer in China. Nobody's got that kind of cash. Oh, well, most people don't have that kind of cash. I don't have that kind of cash to fight a nation in a legal battle over a patent on a product I invented. I can't imagine most people do. Anywho, but this goes on all the time. So Facebook had taken all my music down for this and said I wasn't allowed to use my own music on my own channel. That I own the publishing rights to. I own the publishing company that houses those rights. I'm an ASCAP member, and they still told me I was not allowed to use it. It took me about 5 weeks to fight Facebook to get the ability to use my own music again. It was very, very disturbing on every single level. It was a nightmare. Man, I had to get that out of my head. There's this ringing from effects, and I don't even have the effect. Oh, that's because I was turning the wrong one down. That's why. Anywho, so those are the kinds of things. But here's the big problem with this. Mark Zuckerberg keeps going into these Senate hearings and lying. I mean, he pretends like he doesn't know what's going on at his company. And Washington Post did an article in, let me pull it up here. They did an article in, what's the date on this? This was November, so last month, about 3 weeks ago. It said it slapped warnings on more than 180 million pieces of content that were debunked by fact checkers during the lead up to the 2020 presidential election. Now, to tell you how ridiculous Facebook is with this, I put up a picture of Australia. This is several months ago, and I said that it was a country, and Facebook fact checkers took it down, sent me a notification, and said that it was false information. So Australia, sorry Australians, you're not a country according to Mark Zuckerberg and his crackpot idiot fact checkers. You are not an actual country. It's completely, utterly insane. Now, if he can fact check, and the fact checkers, first of all, fact checkers, how do you fact check something so quickly? I put something up and boom, the screen is blocked out and said this is erroneous information. Or taking things out of context. Let's put this. So I get this a lot. And this is one of the reasons I'm on restrictions. So I put up a post about Joe Biden and something Joe Biden actually said. He literally said it the night before. Put it in quotes. And Facebook didn't say it wasn't factual. They said it was that my post was out of context. How can something be out of context if it's a fact, a statement that somebody made? If Joe Biden says the sky is purple, and I put it up there that Joe Biden said the sky was purple, this isn't taking anything out of context. This is a factual statement, post based on a statement that the individual actually made. So how could it be taken out of context? You can't take those things out of context. There is what's the context have to do with it? If he said it, he said it. It's a quote. It's preposterously stupid that some fact checker can even at Facebook can make that determination. But what it really boils down to is that when Facebook is going around and restricting 180 million posts in a very short period of time, leading up to the election, that's I mean, if you want to talk about collusion, that's collusion. Russia, the Russia collusion is nothing compared to what Facebook and Twitter have done in regards to restricting people's free speech and right to voice and opinion. I mean, it's completely maddening to try and do anything on either one of these platforms. And be factual if your view is conservative. If your view is conservative, you are not going to be heard. Now, we got Parler out there now, and you have all these other, you got MeWe and so on, etc. The problem is now people our age are dividing our voices amongst all this. So we're reaching less and less people. Although Parler is growing like a weed, it's not there yet. It's the new Twitter, and it's just not there yet. And neither is MeWe. So now we've taken this one forum where we know we all exist, and we've divided our time and our voice amongst them all. And I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but I suggest people start hooking up with other software so you can do one post and spread it everywhere. This way, your opinion still stays on Facebook, even though you're restricted, but it's going to those other places where you have a little bit more freedom of speech. But at the end of the day, we just know that Mark Zuckerberg is not a good person. The man is a human pile of garbage. He's a liar. He lies in every Senate hearing. So does Google. And that'll probably get this taken down. Actually, Google hasn't done as much lying recently as Mark Zuckerberg has. But Mark Zuckerberg is now taking down music. Even if you own it, you're not allowed to play it. He's restricting everything that we're doing, and it's really becoming obnoxious. So, I've had it with Mark Zuckerberg and his absolute utter nonsense. It's ridiculous. He's not a truthful man. Facebook is not although Facebook is a private company, and I believe in capitalism and businesses having the right to decide whether or not, what they do and what they don't, kind of like the guy who didn't want to make the cake for the gay couple. I get that. He had every right to do that. But Mark Zuckerberg shouldn't come out and lie and say that, hey, listen, we're leaving these things wide open. We don't want to be restricting speech. You are clearly restricting speech. You've been restricting my speech. In fact, you have me on a list, and you notify me regularly, Mr. Zuckerberg, that my views and notifications are limited to my fans and followers, and they will be restricted heavily. And my fans and followers notice this because I constantly, every single day, get messages going, I'm not seeing you as often as I used to. You're not popping up in my newsfeed. I'm not getting a notification that you're live. I'm not getting notifications that you have a show unless I go directly to your page. And sometimes when I try and watch your videos, your screen is all black and it won't pull up. So don't tell me you're not restricting me. I've been playing this game and digging into this for 5.5 years. Going to be going on 6 years here with Facebook. This is why we're at YouTube. This is why I have a whole new IT company that's now managing where everything's going to go. So everything is going to go at the same time. Once the video is done, it gets shot out to like 10 different social media platforms and to the website automatically, because nobody is going to restrict my speech. I'm just not going to tolerate it. So that being said, that is the big problem with Mark Zuckerberg. So anyway, again, it's Monday morning, December 7th. You're here with Morning Coffee with DAG. We're going to talk about a few things. We just talked about Mark Zuckerberg. And remember, what I need you to do, it's really, really important. I need you to subscribe to this channel. Our videos are going to be posted here, and then they will be shared amongst the other places. So please subscribe to my channel. This is the way that we can monetize. We can't monetize on Facebook. All you can do is spend money on Facebook. You can't monetize on Facebook. And besides, now with all the new restrictions, it's just going to be impossible for me to do my show there. I'll have to provide a link. You can go to YouTube. You can go to the dagshow.com. Don't forget the dagshow.com. The blog's starting this week, so the blog will start being up there. You get to hear some of the writings, rantings, crazy things, ideas, cool things I find on the internet that might interest you. Shows, the sit down, life rides, let's eat, the DAG shows, the concert series, all that stuff's going to be up there. And this weekend I'll be out shooting 1 or 2 concerts, either Nick Sanziri or this other band I can't remember, but I will keep you posted. Watch. And then the big reveal, I know I told everybody the big reveal was going to be announced. What the date and time is that we're doing that live show hosted by Dino Manziel. I know I said that yesterday. It will be today. We'll let you know. I think it's going to be next Thursday, but don't hold me to that. Watch for the promos on all the pages and watch for promo videos that are going to be coming up for it. Anyway, next topic. What's the next thing we gotta talk about here? Is we got to talk about this vile, disgusting, just wretched human being, Kim Foxx. Now, if you live in Chicago, you'll know who this is. Now, Kim Foxx is the Cook County State's attorney, and she's a Democrat. Now, here's the funny thing about Democrats, okay? First of all, Democrats voted for a president, okay, who's going to raise taxes and supports the idea of killing a baby at birth. Yeah, I mean, he supports murder of unborn children and born children. don't get that. And so you support those kinds of things. He's going to raise taxes if he gets inaugurated, which, the time will tell. I don't know that this is going to happen because Trump isn't going to concede. But this vile, disgusting human being, Kim Foxx, is probably one of the most despicable state's attorneys the state of Illinois could have ever had. And let me tell you a little bit of something. I'm going to tie a personal experience right to this. Kim Foxx, when she took office, what she did, a federal felony is $350 in property damage or stealing or whatever the case may be, and above. What Kim Foxx, and now we had all these problems in Chicago, and there are other places that a lot of these things were going on. Now, people all over the world have seen the videos of people stepping up on Michigan Avenue and just sucker punching somebody or smashing windows out, running in and taking crap out of stores like Macy's and Burberry and so on, etc., and just robbing them blind. What Kim Foxx did in this attempt to appease the minority criminal community, okay, in Chicago, because let's face it, you go to Cook County Jail, a majority of the people that are incarcerated there are not white, they're black. I mean, it just is what it is. I'm not stating misfacts, okay? We have a much higher crime rate for a smaller segment of the population than we do for the largest segment of the population as far as incarceration is concerned. So in her plea, she's going to go ahead and help, minorities, and so she gets elected, okay, by these Democratic minorities. Well, what she did is she says, I'm not going to prosecute a felony unless it's over $1,000 and up to 10 convictions. Wait, what? So you have to have 10 convictions of some kind, whether it's a carjacking, a robbery, spousal abuse, whatever the case may be. And it has to be over $1,000 before she's even going to prosecute. Well, what the hell do you think happened? I mean, what do you think happened in Chicago? Not only in minority neighborhoods where people have their businesses. Don't forget, man, there are minority or black-owned, Hispanic-owned businesses in these neighborhoods. Whether those neighborhoods are poor or not, there are still convenience stores and gas stations and liquor stores and clothing stores and people trying to take the little bit of money they have and build something for themselves. Kim Foxx just basically, in doing that, took it away. So these mobs were going into stores and convenience stores and high-end stores on Michigan Avenue in affluent neighborhoods and just walking out on camera with $10,000 or with $1,000 where you can steal a $999 jacket and avoid prosecution. So how much further did it go? Well, let me tell you how much further it went. I was carjacked on the south side at 1:30 in the morning in Chicago one night, and those people were brought in. I identified them. They were wearing my jacket that they stole out of my car. And the way we knew it was my jacket, because I had a tiny little hole in it. You could see a little tuft of the shit coming out, right? To this day, they're walking the streets. I got called. New investigator got brought onto the case about 6 months later, got called in to do another lineup, identified the person. The person is still walking the streets today. Why? Because I didn't see a gun, even though there were 3 people threatening to shoot me. I didn't see a gun and I wasn't harmed. I tried to wrestle with the guy until they threatened to shoot me. And then it was like, yeah, I'm out. I had people yelling at me. I don't know if they're going to shoot me, stab me. I don't know what's going to do because I don't see any weapons. But that's vehicular hijacking falls right underneath murder, as far as a felony is concerned. It's called a vehicular hijacking. Kim Foxx let him go. So these people are running the streets. Now, Kim Foxx is on the news yesterday trying to tell people the crime is down in Chicago. I got news for you, Kim Foxx, you lying scumbag. The metrics that she's using to try and convince people that the city of Chicago is safe is complete and utter nonsense. They're not realistic and they're not real and honest numbers. Crime is actually up over last year, 40% violent crime in Chicago. 40%, and the year before was up 52%. This woman isn't helping the city of Chicago. She's pandering to criminals and shitbags. That's literally what is happening in Chicago. This woman, and she got reelected. Well, of course, the only way to get a criminal to the poll or get people who are shitty, technically you can't vote if you're a felon, is to go ahead and pander to them. We've been seeing this all along the way. So, this is what Democrats do and liberals do best, is they pander to their base, and then they do nothing for their base. Let me tell you what hasn't happened is Kim Foxx's, these minority neighborhoods have gotten worse in their condition, and the crime has gotten so violent. This morning on the news here in Chicago, there was a grandmother crying on the news because not only was her granddaughter shot in the head, a year ago or whatever, last night her grandson was shot in the head walking down the street. Just walking down the street, supposedly, allegedly. So here's one person who lost 2 of her grandchildren to violent crime, to murder in Chicago, and this woman thinks that she's doing something good. Oh, that's fucking funny. That's funny. That's funny that she can take credit for something she's actually making worse and spin it as if she's doing something good. Violent crime in Chicago is up 40%. Amidst the calls to defund the police and the Mayor Lightfoot telling the police to stand down and to not arrest and harass bad people. Brilliant idea in a city of 3.5 million people. That's a great idea, So we have to be realistic about this. I'm not here, and I don't do this show to lie to anybody or to feed you any BS. But I have to say the things that people don't want to say. And I'm sorry, when 13% of the population makes up 75% of the incarcerated people in this country, there is a problem within that population of that 13% of the people. And it's people like her who propagate that. And I'm telling you right now, I know for a fact, none of my black friends want this stigmatism, posted on, thrown at them. They don't want to be. This is it. I can't imagine being black and being in certain areas and having people look at you funny. When this is the data, this is what's going to happen. If white guys with kind of long hair and black glasses walked around slapping people and stabbing them in the side, anytime you saw somebody who looked like me, you'd be afraid of them. That's just the way it goes. And guess where I don't go? And guess where most people who do rideshare or do essential work don't want to go at nighttime or once it's dark? To those neighborhoods. Because you have a 4 times higher likelihood, or we could do this in other math. Let's talk about 400% more likely to be violently accosted or murdered in those neighborhoods than you are in Naperville, Illinois. So who wants to go there? And don't think for a second that the majority of those people are decent people who are just trying to eke out a living and wake up every day and take care of their families and their kids. But we have horrible problems in those neighborhoods, and she's just pandering to them. She's not helping them. Nobody is setting up programs that are actually working. Black Lives Matter doesn't do shit in Chicago. Nothing. Zero. They do nothing for people. If you go to the Black Lives Matter website, you can go and look at a video, and there's 2 women who were part of the Black Lives Matter movement on an executive level, and they said, yes, every couple weeks we take some non-perishables and we put them in a box. And every couple of weeks we go back and replace it. Like you put SpaghettiOs and some Chef Boyardee and macaroni and cheese in a box, and you set it where? Where do you put this? In Robbins? On a corner, and people just come and take some rice and some Chef Boyardee beefaroni? I mean, it's ridiculous. Black Lives Matter is doing nothing in these communities. People like Kim Foxx are pandering to people in these communities, and she is participating in the crime rate going up and instilling the fear in all the good people who live in those communities. Period. It's inarguable. The data doesn't lie. And I'm not saying this. Telling facts is not racist. So for those of you who are going to, and I know you will, send me messages and tell me I'm a racist, you're an idiot. Because the truth is the truth. It's not subject to your opinion about racism. Facts are facts. Cook County Jail is made up of 75% minorities, blacks and Hispanics, not white people, committing violent crimes that this person is letting out of jail. She's letting rapists and murderers and carjackers walk free. thieves, criminals who are literally destroying their own neighborhoods for chips and Doritos and Monster and so on, etc. As a mob goes into a corner store at 159th and Stony Island and steals everything that this guy just, was paid for to stock his shelves with. Not to mention makes a mess of the place and breaks things. I mean, it's ridiculous. She allows it to happen. And then, what the hell just happened? Oh. I don't know how that happened. I'm wondering, where's that music coming from? So this woman is literally the reason crime is increased in the city of Chicago. And I can't believe she got reelected. I'm completely dumbfounded that they reelected her until I sit down and think about it and go, oh, yeah, all the crappy people want to be pandered to. Democrats love being pandered to. Liberals love being pandered to. They tell you all kinds of ridiculous things, like, the same way AOC and her nonsense of the Green New Deal. But she is the reason that crime is up, and crime is up. It's way up. Crime being up 40% in Chicago this year over last year, and we're not even at the end of the year. So we have to think very hard, and conservatives, we can't allow these people to get in anymore. We need to do a better job of getting the message out to Democrats that they're making terrible decisions. You can't make a decision just because you hate the conservative party to elect somebody who's going to do more damage at the end of the day for the people of your city, your town, your community, your state, whatever, or your country, simply because you hate the other guy. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's maddening. So, let's make sure that we're doing a really good job getting the message out fairly and honestly. So, that being said, let's make sure that we don't allow this to happen anymore, because it's stupid. It's not good. It's not good for society. It's not good for our citizens. It's not good for our friends and our neighbors. It's just not good for anybody. So. Anyway, next thing I want to talk about. So Kim Foxx has got to go. We know that. Kim Foxx has to go. Listen, got to keep saying this, man. Get to the YouTube channel and please subscribe to my channel. I need you to be there. That's where the videos are going to go up. They're going to be shared on Facebook because of heavy Facebook restrictions and new Facebook restrictions that started in the last 2 or 3 weeks that we heard about in some more Senate hearings with Mark Zuckerberg, the pathological liar of social media. So get here and subscribe and go to the dagshow.com. You can see the videos, the concert series. There's more and more videos going up. We are doing so much there, and the blog is going to start this week, so I need you to be there. I love you all for following me. Thank you very much. So I just want to bring that up. Thank you. It's here. It's December 7th, Monday morning, Pearl Harbor Day. And it's, what did I just do? I just cut us off there. We didn't want to do that. Hold on. Let me God damn it. I need somebody to do this for me. There we go. Here I am. It's Morning Coffee with DAG here on the DAG Show. And yes, I want to talk about this. And some of you, I was in a conversation yesterday with... people put up these posts that are so stupid and so annoying, saying, masks, are you going to tell me masks don't work because doctors have been wearing them for a century? Oh, really? Okay. When's the last time you were in a hospital and you saw a doctor wear the same mask for 3 weeks? Or the same pair of gloves when he goes from patient to patient? The last time I was in the hospital, the doctor comes in. If he's going to wear a mask, he puts a fresh mask on. This is before the pandemic. But now they come in, they put a fresh mask on, a fresh pair of gloves, and in most cases, they're washing their hands from patient to patient. We wear the same mask all the time. So, people have a mask in their car. Maybe you take it home, and once every 4 days, you throw it in the washing machine if you have a washable one. But most everybody is just wearing these paper masks that are 39 cents. And no, you're not going to convince me that these masks are working. Would you say, are we logical enough to think that the longer you keep an air filter in your car, or let's say in your house for your furnace, the less effective it becomes. I was in the HVAC business my whole life. You don't just put a filter in your furnace and leave it there forever, because eventually you go to your furnace coil and it's covered in dust because the effectiveness of that filter erodes. It goes away. It starts to dry out and deteriorate. Holes and spots open up. You think when you wear the same mask that you have sitting over your shifter in your car, so when you walk into a store that you spilled coffee on, that you breathed in and out of for 5 weeks, all of a sudden has the same effectiveness it did the minute you took it out of the bag? Does an air freshener last forever when you hang it in your car? No. And that's what a majority of the population is doing. And this is what was the Robert, not Robert Lurie, I can't remember the name of the hospital. I quoted him last week. They did a whole study on this, saying, the point of masks for the American public is ridiculous because we don't use them like medical professionals do. See, the big argument about the shortage in PPE is because they go through so much of it. They're constantly changing their gloves. They're constantly changing their masks. They're constantly washing their hands from patient to patient to patient. We're not. Go into the grocery store. You see the keypad, and they wrap it in saran wrap, and it's there all day. And the girl won't bag your groceries. And you ask her, why won't you bag your groceries? She goes, for the safety of COVID. Yeah, but you just touched all my groceries to scan them and put them in the bag. And somebody took them and put them on the shelf. And somebody else might have walked by and picked them up and set them back down. Some stranger who's shopping. So when does this all start to seem completely stupid? If I'm going to touch unless you're going to replace that saran wrap on the keypad, every customer, there's no point in putting saran wrap on the keypad. None, zero. None. Now, I went into a Nike store, and Nike, with every customer, wipes down the counter and wipes down the keypad. Now, that makes sense. Okay, great. But you're doing it right at that point. But you go to Jewel, Osco, Albertsons, Meijer, Walgreens, CVS, the gas station. How many people touch that pump outside when you put in your PIN number? How many people touch that button that says regular gas or premium gas? How many people put their hands on that pump? Name one time you have gone to the gas station, you've seen somebody wearing a pair of gloves, putting on a fresh pair of gloves to touch a gas pump. I've never seen it, and I'm at a gas pump 3 times a day. 3 times a day. I go to the gas pump 300% more than the average person, probably more than that. Most people fill up their tank once or twice a week. I fill my tank up daily. So it doesn't make any sense. I mean, think about all the things we touch every day. You go into the grocery store, you pick up 2 boxes of mac and cheese. One falls over. Ooh, you set that one back up. Now Susie comes and does the same thing or grabs it or whatever. You've touched it. The stock boys touched it. The place that manufactured it and packaged it touched it. The girl who runs it across the register touched it, put it in the bag. She touches it again. What is the point in all of this? Masks and gloves clearly have not worked in social distancing. If everything is escalated and all anybody's talking about is how many more people are sick, then what was the point of all of this? In my opinion, what they should have said is, hey, this is a terrible virus and a bunch of people are going to die. But they do every year, which I'm going to touch on here in a minute, give you some fucking data. Everybody go out, have a great time. We're all going to be sick for 2 months. Everybody's going to catch it. Kind of like when you were a kid. If you're my age and your cousin got chicken pox, your mom immediately ran you over there to hang out with your cousin so you'd get chicken pox and get it out of the way. So the whole family got it and it was done. And chicken pox can be dangerous. People can die from it, especially as adults. Very dangerous in adults. But that's what we did. Get everybody. It's called herd immunity. So, you get in there, you get everybody sick, because now pretty much everybody's either had it, doesn't know they had it, and, everybody's going to get it. I said this back in March. If this is really this strong of a virus like the flu, everybody's going to get it at some point. Period. So let everybody get it. Let's have a big party with 330 million people. And let's get everybody sick and be over this goddamn thing. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous we're spending this much time arguing about this, and that the potentially incoming president is going to order 100-day or a month long, 100 days of mask wearing and a 24-hour mandatory isolation of wearing a mask in your home around your family. He's gonna make you do that. You realize how stupid this is? Now let's talk about death. Listen, I'm hearing about people who know people who died from COVID. Let's be realistic here, okay? Not everybody who dies from COVID had a comorbidity, like cancer or pneumonia. The average age of a death of somebody who dies in COVID, the average age is 80, okay? So stop propagating this bullshit because you heard of a friend whose cousin's, uncle's, maybe's nephew who was 20 died of COVID. I'm sorry, but I don't care. I care about the death and the family. I don't care about that statistic because it's so inconsequential out of 330 million people, it doesn't matter. It's incalculable, and it's rare. Like certain types of diseases are rare. Spina bifida is rare. I don't want to see anybody get it, but it's really not going to stop me from taking my kids to the park or eating certain foods because, or whatever the cause of that is. I don't know. Clearly, I sound like an idiot when I'm talking about spina bifida. I don't even know why that came to my head, but you get where I'm going with it. We know that we eat certain foods and they have carcinogens in them, and those carcinogens can cause cancer. But I'm not going to stop eating them. I'm going to still eat a pizza puff when I go out. I don't care how many chemicals are in it. I want a pizza puff every once in a while. But you can't prove if I get cancer that you can't link it back to the pizza puff. You follow me? So, we've taken these things too far. I can't link getting COVID to touching the keypad at the grocery store any more than I can at the gas pump. And you can't link COVID to you going out with your friends or going to a restaurant or a bar. I mean, the whole restaurant thing is completely stupid. You can't go inside, but you can go to an indoor tent kind of thing. I went and had dinner with my friend Tracy Deutsch, who's a drummer in Sabbatha, and we went to an Indian restaurant, and they literally have this outdoor patio where the doors can open up. But all they had to do, it's just like being inside. It's identical. And it's wide open to the inside of the building where you can't sit. It's like there's a line. You can't sit here, but you can sit here. And 2 of the doors were cracked. And that's called an outdoor patio because that's by permit when they built it. Since, like, you ever see a swimming pool that's all enclosed, but you can open all the doors, so I have a friend who has that at his house. So it's technically an indoor pool, but it's not. So this whole idea that you're going to pack people in a tent and, you're going to be safe, it's stupid. It's stupid. The fact you're going to wear a mask for 5 weeks, the same mask, or a week or 2 weeks, is stupid. The fact that you're going to touch the same keypad that's not cleaned after every person is stupid. The fact that she can pack my groceries in the bag but can't give me the bag is stupid. Because if you have COVID, I'm going to get home and get COVID. It just doesn't make any sense. And making the comparisons to doctors and us walking around in a Home Depot wearing masks. Well, when's the last time you were in a Home Depot? It was so crowded that you were like this, butt up to people. Generally, when you go to the Home Depot, you're about 25 feet away from the next person pre-COVID. So when are you, unless you're standing in line, when are you that close to people in the store? I mean, you're just not, except when you're standing in line. It's just dumb. So now the COVID numbers are way up. Well, here's some data for you. Last year, pre-COVID, all causes of death in the United States, by all causes, suicide, murder, cancer, flu, whatever, all causes of death, we lost 2.7 million people. Okay, which is about average. And, if you go back and you look at my numbers, you'll see each year for the previous decade, each year was a little bit less. Well, that's because the population was less those years. You get how that works, right? You get how that works? 1984, the world population was 4.7 billion. In 2020, the world population is almost 8 billion. See what I'm saying? So every year, the population goes up. in this country as well as the world. So you got to take those things into consideration when you see those numbers going up. So don't send me stupid messages arguing that point, because you just look like an idiot. But this year, as of last month, we were at 2.4 million by all causes of death, even with COVID. Kind of funny. COVID's cured apparently pneumonia, the flu, cancer, upper respiratory diseases beyond COVID, lung disease, pleurisy. COVID's cured everything, because now all anybody dies from is COVID. There's no more influenza. It's just COVID. John Hopkins was a hospital. So John Hopkins in their whole story, and I talked about this last week, and it's important that I reiterate these things because we have to have a clear understanding of what the numbers really mean. When they just keep saying that we have 10,000 tests in Illinois, positive tests. So what? So what? Who cares? How many people are in the hospital? How many people are on ventilators? Now, there are some hospitals in Illinois that are overwhelmed. Morris Hospital has 80 beds. So, yeah, there's a lot of small town, small community hospitals that don't have that many beds because they're community hospitals. They don't have trauma centers. They don't have things like that. They take people in who have pneumonia or maybe at the end of their life. But John Hopkins said that most of these people, based on their study that they did, would have been dead by year's end with COVID or without because of their comorbidities. So what are we doing here? So we just get on social media, we put out these stupid ideas, we make these ridiculous comparisons without thinking them through, talking about how doctors wear masks, not making apples to apples comparisons between a doctor and a plumber or a heating and air guy who's going to the grocery store. That's not the same comparison. It's not. Doctors are around sick people. Extra precautions have to be taken all the time. Like somebody in the hospital who's in intensive care with a staph infection. It's a very dangerous infection. You don't want to get those people sicker because they will die. People who have COVID, in the hospital, you don't want to get them sicker because they'll die. Forcing people to stay home who are sick makes sense. But forcing people who are healthy to stay home is tyranny. And this is why people are upset. So, some of you should go back and read George Orwell's book, 1984. It's the similarities of what's happening now are staggering. And this is a book on fiction. This is a book of fiction. It was George Orwell. So it's very, very frustrating to listen to people and read their text, and then you call them out on it, and then you get into an argument, and then 10 of their friends come and attack you and tell you don't care about dying people. It's stupid. Sit back, look at the facts, look at the numbers. We are underperforming in death as a society this year. In spite of the fact that in my city in Chicago, crime is up 40%, violent crime is up 40%, murders are up. COVID is here, clearly. If you listen to the governor and Mayor Lightfoot, the world's coming to an end and we're all going to die. Shut it all down. But we're underperforming in overall deaths as a society here in the United States by 3 million people. Or, I'm sorry, by 300,000 people in spite of COVID. COVID is here and we are, and it's all the rage. It's all the fear. The fear-mongering is out of control. And anybody who's not sitting down asking themselves some serious, honest questions as to why these most basic functions and things we're doing every day don't make any sense, then you're part of the problem. And even if they said, okay, no mask, COVID is over today, half the people are still going to be afraid. That's how much fear was put in to the American people and the people globally. Which brings me to answering a question for Heather Goldsmith, who I had on my show on the very first sit-down. She asked me about this New World Order thing. Well, and I'm going to do a whole show on this, and I'm going to touch on it here. It's called the Liberal World Order. The New World Order is a new version of it. The Liberal World Order has been around for almost 80 years. And what it is, essentially, I'm going to try and break this down into the simplest of terms before I do the show, and I'll bring a bunch of data and explain to you. And I will put up a link here today to a really great video that explains the liberal world order, okay? And the liberal world order is essentially where governments got together, and they do this. This has been around. This isn't anything new. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is a real thing that's happened in the world for 80 years. And they try and get governments to create democracies, which we know we do. You know, we've done it through war. We've done it through peace. That's what it's all about. And try and get everybody to work by the same set of rules and to open up all their markets to trade. That's essentially the foundation of the liberal world order. The new world order wants to take it a step further, which we're seeing kind of happen here in this country, where socialist ideologies now suppress the speech of the people and the voice of the people. And this way makes us all equal. And it squishes us down. So here, you're an executive here, you make $200,000 a year, and you're, working at McDonald's here. They want to take this. AOC talks about it all the time. Squish it all down. So we're all making $15 or $20 an hour, and we're being told when we can go out of the house, what we can buy, when we can buy it, when we can dance, when we can sing. And if you think I'm crazy, this is literally happening right now. It's happening right now here in the United States. It's happening right here in Chicago. They told us for Thanksgiving and Christmas, do not sing. I mean, it came on, the mayor and the governor came on television, said, don't sing, don't take your masks off except to eat, and then you must put them right back on. Suppression. That's tyranny. You cannot do that to healthy people. You can't do it. Not in this country. You want to go do that in some Muslim country? Because they do that to women all the time. And, but you're not doing that here. You're not going to make me get a vaccine ID. You were ready. You got enough control over me with all these devices I got set up all over here. You know where I'm at. I'm not getting a fucking vaccine ID. Fuck you. Ain't happening. In fact, I'm not taking that vaccine until I'm 100% certain. I may never take it. I'm not rushing out to go get a vaccine of any kind. I don't get sick that often, and I'm not worried about it. But you're not going to force me to do it, and I'm not answering contact tracing calls, ever. I'm not answering the phone. They were running commercials here in Chicago for DuPage County saying, here's the number. And when you see it, answer it. It's really important. You'll save lives. Fuck you. I'm not a paramedic. I'm not a surgeon. I'm not in the business of saving lives. I'm in the business of living mine. That's the business I'm in, and you should be too. So, that being said, this is why I kind of see all this as a scamdemic. It's silly. It's stupid, and it doesn't make any. Just the things don't add up. With COVID here in this country and the fear of death, all causes of death, we are underperforming. So what are we afraid of? We actually, even with COVID, we've done something along the lines that's right. We have less cancer deaths, clearly. We have less, suicides, they say, are up. But there's less things killing people this year, apparently, than there was last year. But you wouldn't get that if you watch the news, and you wouldn't get that if you read the newspaper. Listen to the radio. That's not the story that's being told. The story that's being told is that your life is essentially almost over, which is just ridiculous to me. So, anyway, I will do, so Heatherlyn Goldsmith, I will tag you in this once I get this posted to Facebook. We'll keep putting these shows out. They're going to YouTube. Please go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. I will post you just click on the YouTube video on Facebook, and boom, it'll take you right to the YouTube channel. Just hit subscribe and go about your merry way. And I will have the date tonight for the big reveal. I love you all. I'm gonna go out with a song, and we will talk to you guys, the next couple of days. I'm thinking. All right, this is Dreamscape from the Darren Edwards Project. That's me. I'm DAG. You guys all have a great Monday. I love you all. Be good to one another. Peace.
Yourself in a lonely dreamscape. just like walking round in my mind, seeing visions that are sometimes hard to see, and reality is so hard to find. I don't know where I should go, where I'm supposed to be. So I sit here running round in circles through my travels. I have recognized someone I've seen, yeah, all so close, yet so far. I realize that someone is me. I don't know where to go, where I'm supposed to be. I'm wasting time, and time is always there. It's always dead on head. Woo! Every time I see your face, it takes me to another place. I look in the mirror and say it's okay. Every time I see myself, I know I should be somewhere else. That's the way I say it has to be. I don't know where I should go, where I'm supposed to be. I'm wasting time, and the time is always there. It's always there on head.
All right, everybody, you take care. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow morning for Morning Coffee with DAG. We'll talk to you later. Peace.